The tale starts with Yuji being ambushed by a monster in the woods. Yuji called his slimes for help and they quickly beat the scary monster. Next, we see an adventurer's guild, where a man is mocked by his friends. They thought he was nuts for saying he saw a slime that could cast fire spells. Everyone believes slimes were feeble and couldn't use magic. Then Yuji enters the guild, finishes a tough quest, and the receptionist is amazed. Guildmaster Aegis hears about it, can't believe Yuji is just a regular tamer, and buys all the herbs Yuji gathered. Soon, an adventurer reports trouble in the forest. They find out that strong monsters are heading to the town. Guildmaster Aegis tells everyone that thousands of monsters will attack the town. He urges everyone to leave the town with the residents, but the adventurers decide to stay and protect their town. Yuji then reveals he has a plan to beat the monsters. He shows them a dragon fang, explaining he can use it for a strong attack. He proposes to wipe out the monsters with a dragon's fire breath. The adventurers are skeptical about Yuji doing this alone. Suddenly, an adventurer points out Yuji's slime and convinces the guildmasters to trust Yuji. The adventurers get ready to defend the city and give Yuji time to prepare. Meanwhile, Yuji's brave wolf gathered his scattered slimes in the forest. The slimes were eager for battle and excited to fight. The adventurers waited for the approaching monsters, throwing bombs at them. When the first monsters showed up, Yuji got ready to use a big attack. The adventurers started fighting, and Yuji used his magic spells. He planned to strike in 15 minutes using his magic coding skills. Yuji looked for the right spell, and Team Dryad saw a strange man leaving a red crystal. Yuji decided to create a barrier over the crystal, which teleported his slimes there. The slimes then caught the mysterious man. Yuji gave his magic to the slimes to seal the crystal. Suddenly, the captured bad guys started to kill themselves with one drinking poison. Then, all the slimes gathered and were ready to use a strong fire spell. Meanwhile, the adventurers battled the fierce monsters. Yuji told his wolf to do a special job, and some slimes helped the adventurers by using fire magic on the monsters. The monsters were driven back, and Yuji made a big barrier around the city. He asked Lily to tell the adventurers to return. The slimes got ready for their attack, spreading out around the city. They took their places, but one monster caused problems. Time was running out, and two adventurers thought about sacrificing themselves. But Yuji's wolf saved them just in time, attacking the monster. Yuji then launched his attack, first activating his barrier. He used a skill called Hellfire, creating a huge explosion that wiped out most monsters. The adventurers were amazed by Yuji. He beat most of the monsters, but a few survived. After his attack, Yuji had no more magic power, but he decided to do a second attack anyway. He used his second attack and beat the leftover monsters, saving the city but then fainted from tiredness. Later, Yuji woke up. His slimes and Lily were relieved he wasn't hurt. Guildmaster Aegis found out why the monsters attacked and came back to the city. Yuji enjoyed some soup made by Lily, and everyone celebrated their win against the tough monsters. Lily asked Yuji why he risked his life for everyone. She quickly realized he didn't want to talk about it and left his room smiling. After the party, Lily saw that Yuji had left the city during the night. Yuji and his slimes were discussing why he wanted to leave for the next town so soon. Yuji said he didn't want to be treated like a hero, so they headed to the next town. The next day, the guildmaster found out Yuji had already left. Lily spotted something from a bad group. The guildmaster sent a message to the main guild. Meanwhile, Yuji's slime found the next town, so they arrived to Killia with his powerful pets. Yuji and his slimes caught people's attention. They found a man selling delicious meat. Yuji bought all his meat and fed it to his slimes and wolf. Suddenly, Yuji heard a bell and learned someone from the central guild was in town. After eating, Yuji wanted to do some quests. People thought less of him because he was a tamer often seen as weak. The receptionist suggested he take on hard quests. While looking for a quest, a group of adventurers came up to him. They wanted Yuji to join them, but Rodas thought Yuji was useless in monster fights. Lisa and Tina wondered if he was good at tracking monsters. They decided to let Yuji join their quest. Yuji and his new team went to find an earth dragon. They thought Yuji was a weak tamer, so they only asked him to track monsters, not fight. Yuji asked his pets if they sensed enemies nearby. He told his slimes not to attack the monsters because he wanted to see how strong his team was. Yuji warned his team about 5 monsters nearby. Rodas was eager to fight and rushed to battle the monsters. They got trapped by a group of monsters, and Yuji's team got ready to fight. The wolves attacked and Rodas used his dagger to beat the monsters. Rodas alone defeated all the monsters with his dagger skills, and his team thanked him for saving them. The slimes were upset because they wanted to fight the weak monsters. Yuji's group moved on and took a break in the evening. They had dinner, and Yuji shared his chicken drumstick with his adorable slime. He complimented his slimes in front of Tina, making the other slimes happy. Tina asked Yuji how he became so good at finding monsters. The girls kept asking questions about Yuji, who didn't know what to say. Suddenly, Rodaz stood up, saying they should sleep and take turns keeping watch to avoid bandit attacks at night. Yuji was surprised to find out Rodaz was a kind and polite person. Then we see Yuji transported to another world, Isekai. He was shocked and thought he was just imagining it. He met a little slime and ended up taming it. The slime led Yuji to an old house full of magic books, grimoires. Reading them, Yuji learned many spells and his power increased a lot. He found out he could talk to his slimes using his mind telepathy. Back in the present, Yuji woke up because his slime alerted him. Rodaz had gone somewhere unknown, and Tina and Lisa were also missing. They followed Rodaz secretly, thinking Yuji was too weak to handle danger. Rodaz sensed someone and threw his knife, but Yuji's slime was invisible and wasn't hurt. Rodaz went deeper into the forest, avoiding traps and heading to a secret place. The girls wondered what Rodaz was doing in the abandoned house. Rodaz then told his boss he had 2 girls and a guy in his team. Yuji found out Rodaz was part of a bandit group that kidnapped people. The bandits planned to kidnap the girls and sell them. The bandit boss suddenly attacked his own men. The girls tried to escape and go back to Yuji, but accidentally set off an alarm trap. They tricked the bandits with another trap. Meanwhile, Yuji prepared a strong spell to beat the bandits. His slimes positioned themselves outside the bandit hideout. Yuji gave his magic to the slimes, and they froze the bandits in a big ice block. All the bandits were beaten, and the slimes took them out of the ice. Lisa and Tina were amazed that Yuji's slimes were so powerful. They also found out that Yuji had accidentally captured a notorious bandit leader named Galios, who was now inside one of his slimes. They agreed to keep going with their quest the next day. Yuji then threw a slime into the air to look for a good place to camp. He quickly found a spot for them to sleep. The girls were impressed by Yuji's abilities and how fast he set up camp, so they slept well. Yuji thought about the bandit leader's warning about something bad happening when the moon turns blue. Meanwhile, a mysterious priest was also watching the moon. The next day, Yuji and the girls went to find a big earth dragon. They felt a strong wind, and one of Yuji's slimes saw dragons from a tree. The other slimes looked for the earth dragon, but didn't find anything. The girls encouraged Yuji, saying they believed in his powerful slimes. Yuji remembered when he took his adventurer exams. His huge magic accidentally broke a magic crystal. Then, during a test to break a big rock, Yuji used a simple fire spell, not knowing silent spells are advanced. He then used a fireball spell and shattered the rock, surprising everyone with his power. After that, Yuji decided to only use weaker spells and hide his ability to use strong ones. While searching for the earth dragon, Yuji's cute slimes defeated all the monsters without leaving any trace. The girls were surprised they hadn't seen any monsters, and Yuji explained his slimes beat them all. Then the sky turned purple, and the slimes sensed something strange. Priest Style told Guildmaster Ray that the blue moon means evil and showed him a book about a blue moon legend. A huge dragon appeared, threatening all of humanity. Yuji told his wolf to gather the slimes. The girls wondered why the sky was normal again. Yuji explained that a dragon stronger than an earth dragon appeared far away. They decided to hide in Delight Canyon, a safe place where strong monsters don't go. Yuji's pets searched the canyon for any monsters. He gave his magic to his pets, and his slimes quickly beat all the monsters easily. Then they felt a strong wind and almost got blown away. Searching for where the wind came from, they found a small cave with a suspicious wind blowing out of it. Yuji's group saw the beaten monsters in the canyon, and Yuji said his slimes did it. Meanwhile, his brave wolf was scared and ran away from a big bear. A slime used a fire spell on the bear, and it died right away. The slimes then said they made it through Delight Canyon. One small slime told Yuji there were no more big monsters around. Suddenly, the ground shook and the earth dragon they were searching for showed up. Lisa and Tina were scared because their job was just to watch the dragon, not fight it. They wanted to hide, but Yuji wanted to fight the dragon. Yuji tried using weak magic, but it didn't work. He knew he needed stronger magic but didn't want to show his full power. The dragon attacked Tina and Lisa, but Yuji saved them just in time. They thanked him. Yuji then came up with a plan to fight the dragon. He tricked it into a trap and made a sandstorm so no one could see the fight. Yuji then used a strong fire spell on the dragon. The area exploded, scaring the girls. They saw the dragon was burned. Tina thought the explosion was caused by explosive rocks, not knowing it was Yuji's power. They went back to the guild and said they defeated the earth dragon, surprising the receptionist who thought they were only scouting. Yuji's slime showed the dragon's head and a member's body. Guildmaster Ray heard about the defeated dragon and gave Yuji's group a lot of money for beating the bandits in the dragon. Suddenly, Ray appeared and wanted to talk to Yuji. Yuji was in a meeting with the guildmaster who was talking about a big problem. Yuji was asked to describe the dragon he saw in the forest. He used a spell to turn his memories into a picture and showed it to the guildmaster, who was scared by it. Then Priest still showed a book with old stories. He said that a very powerful dragon shows up after a blue moon, and it can destroy a whole continent in 3 days. Still also mentioned that 30 years ago, there was a hero who could beat this dragon. Guildmaster Ray thought the dragon came because of a spirit ceremony done 30 years ago. Yuji's slimes said the blue dragon was getting bigger. Yuji said his slimes were watching the dragon. The adventurers were scared, but the guildmaster said they would fight. Yuji's slimes had a nice lunch and thanked him. Tina and Lisa thought Yuji would fight the blue dragon and said they wanted to help. Believing they could win with him, Priest still then gave Yuji a rusty dagger that belonged to the hero from 30 years ago. Yuji found out the dagger had a special power. He asked why he got it and still said the gods chose him. Yuji was worried about the adventurers fighting the dragon. Yuji's slimes said the dragon was even bigger now. Yuji remembered he used to hide his strong magic but decided to use all his power against the dragon. He and his pets went to find the dragon. They found it and Yuji got ready for the fight. He shared his senses with his slimes and used a powerful fire spell. The dragon was tough and started attacking widely. Yuji realized he was fighting a dragon that could shoot lasers. He protected himself and his slimes with a strong shield. The slimes saw the dragon gathering energy. Yuji decided to use the hero's dagger. The slimes were worried because the dagger seemed weak, but Yuji knew its real power. He ran towards the dragon with his pets. The dragon shot lasers at Yuji, but he blocked them and kept running towards the dragon. The Blue Eyes White Dragon attacked again, but Yuji's super strong slime, at level 999, blocked the attack. Yuji set up barriers and jumped high into the air to reach the dragon. The dragon tried to hit him, but Yuji's slime threw a fireball at it. Yuji then hit the dragon's eye with his dagger and used a powerful fire spell. The dragon was hurt, but it hit Yuji back. The dragon was stronger than Yuji thought, and Yuji ran out of magic power protecting himself. The dragon kept trying to hit Yuji, who made more barriers. Yuji was struggling against the dragon's strong laser attacks. He quickly thought of a plan and found a strong spell. Yuji dodged the laser and used a spell called Pikachu Thunderbolt to paralyze the dragon. Riding on his proud wolf, Yuji and the wolf attacked the dragon together. Yuji combined his dagger and fire spell to cut the dragon in half. The dragon died from Yuji's final attack. Yuji's slime was happy about the victory, and they all went back to town. After the dragon died, magic mushrooms grew in the area. The next morning, Guildmaster Ray told Yuji that the legendary dragon was defeated, thanks to an unknown hero. Guildmaster Ray said Yuji could rely on the adventurers if he needed help. Yuji had breakfast, and the girls mentioned the dragon was beaten. They asked Yuji what he planned next. He said he wanted to go to the next town, and Lisa suggested the city of Ricardo. Yuji asked if anything strange was happening there, but the girls said it was a peaceful place. They went by, and Yuji traveled to the next town, with his slimes excited for dinner. A slime told Yuji that Dryad had a problem. Dryad showed Yuji magic mushrooms and asked for help to collect them. She wanted to use them to make special S-rank potions, like healing and mana restore potions. Yuji was impressed that the mana potions could quickly restore all his magic power. His slimes quickly collected all the mushrooms in the forest. Dryad was happy to have all the mushrooms and made potions using her alchemy spells inside a barrier. Dryad was trying to make a blue MP potion but couldn't. Yuji showed her a cool trick he learned, using his slimes and some lab flasks to purify some water. He mentioned her potions looked like the stones they first saw together. Dryad recalled being sick in a tree and how Yuji cured her instantly. She thanked him and mentioned a strange stone that had taken her magic. Yuji then blocked the power of the stone, and when evil monsters showed up, he quickly defeated them. Dryad thanked him again and made flowers, happy to have met Yuji. Yuji found out that the magic stones where monsters appeared had dragon blood in them. Dragons have strong magic that can be good or bad. The slimes then told him they successfully purified the water, which helped Dryad make the blue MP potions. She thanked Yuji and gave him a hug, then gave him some potions and left for home. Yuji kept traveling and entered a foggy area. His wolf found a small village. A man welcomed Yuji and invited him for a meal, suggesting they wait for the fog to clear. Yuji wasn't hungry but talked with the man. Yuji mentioned he was going to Ricardo. The villagers seemed curious about Yuji. Before leaving, Yuji learned the village was called Messiahs. His pets found the villagers strange, and Yuji agreed. He saw the man he met earlier talking to a crystal ball, saying he planned to use Dragon Grace from Delight Canyon to destroy the world. Yuji and his pets were excited about the food in Ricardo. They were surprised to find a blizzard in the new town. On the way, Yuji made sure his pets weren't cold. They were more concerned about him, but he found a spell to keep warm. After casting the spell, his slimes were impressed. Yuji reached the new city, and a guard explained the snowy weather. The guard asked why Yuji came to Ricardo, and Yuji said he heard about the great food. In the city, a nice man suggested a popular restaurant. Yuji went there, but the woman at the restaurant said they were closed due to a lack of firewood caused by the sudden snowstorm. Yuji offered to get firewood for them. He went to the forest and, not knowing much about firewood, created a magic axe to chop trees. The ghost cut down the whole forest and turned the trees into firewood. His slimes were impressed. Yuji then used a spell to dry the wood, and his slimes helped remove moisture. Yuji brought the wood to the restaurant. The chef first said it was too dry, so Yuji added moisture using his slime. The chef was amazed by the perfect firewood. He asked Yuji where he got it, and Yuji said his slimes made it. The chef was shocked by the amount of firewood. Yuji's stomach growled, and the chef cooked him a delicious steak with sides. The food tasted heavenly. Yuji thanked the chef and wanted to help more. He went to the guild and saw the town needed help. He took some quests, including helping a lumberjack named Widoka. Widoka said they needed more wood because of the unexpected blizzard. Yuji asked about Masaya's village and learned it was abandoned. Yuji then chopped trees with his powerful axe, impressing the lumberjacks with how fast he worked. His slimes quickly dried the wood. Widoka and the guild receptionist were stunned by Yuji's skills. The receptionist mentioned a legend about a powerful slime tamer, which made Yuji think Priest Stein might know more. Yuji's slimes then spit out more firewood they had stored, leaving Widoka speechless. Yuji asked the guild if they needed more firewood, then gathered a huge amount that amazed everyone. That evening, he got his reward and rested. The next morning, he was excited to try the famous stew in Ricardo. The chef and the restaurant owner thanked him, and Yuji enjoyed the delicious stew, feeling like he was in paradise. His pets also loved the tasty food and wanted to eat there every day. The chef mentioned they usually have better dishes, but monsters were eating the herbs, making it hard to get good ones. Yuji decided to hunt these monsters with his slimes ready for action. They found a wild boar monster, which scared the slimes with a loud scream. After Yuji transferred some magic to them, they defeated the boar and cleared out the rest of the monsters in the forest. During the hunt, the slimes discovered a blue magic orb. Yuji asked Dryad about it and learned it absorbs energy. He thought it might be causing the blizzard and sealed it, then had his slimes find more orbs. They found 108 orbs around Ricardo, making Yuji sense a powerful spell at work. He ordered his slimes out of the forest, and his wolf helped gather them. Yuji decided to burn part of the forest to stop the problem, and Dryad wasn't upset because he was trying to help everyone. He created a huge explosion with a fire spell, revealing a secret entrance. Yuji went inside with his slimes, telling Dryad to hide while he was gone. Inside, they found a large glowing machine and magic crystals filled with a substance. Suddenly, some suspicious people showed up, saw the destroyed machines, and left another way. Yuji wondered what they were doing there. While Yuji's slimes were exploring, they were excited to find more strange things. Yuji used a spell to make them invisible. In the forest, the slimes followed some shady men and played at being spies. They found a big metal door with 2 levers and, following Yuji's instructions, opened it together. The slimes climbed a ladder and reached the village of Messias, realizing they'd been there before. They looked for villagers and saw the shady men reporting to their boss about the broken machines. Yuji, watching through his slimes, figured out that these men in cult-like clothes were part of a bad group linked to the Blue Moon. The bad group's boss was upset about the machines and told his men to gather all magic stones in the forest. He said to get rid of anyone causing trouble. Yuji, worried they might harm innocent people, planned to stop them. He had his slimes quietly surround the village and check for anyone not in the bad group. The slimes searched the village, and one slime watched the Blue Moon group. A group of slimes stole their books and documents, hiding them inside themselves. Yuji's slimes caught some people in the forest who then took poison and died. Yuji kept watching, not changing his plan. One slime found a locked metal door. Yuji guided them to blow out candles with a wind spell, which opened the door. The slimes were amazed at Yuji's cleverness. Inside, they found lots of treasure and a skeleton. Suddenly, they felt someone was in their secret spot, but the slimes had already taken all the books and treasures. The bad group got worried. Yuji got ready to confront them. The bad group noticed many of their members were gone and thought a person caused the explosion. They feared their plans were discovered and mentioned a dangerous fire that could destroy the world. Yuji kept listening to them. The leader said they had to find and eliminate the enemy. Then, they all took out swords, ready to sacrifice themselves, which shocked Yuji and his slimes. Suddenly, a big fire started, causing an earthquake. Yuji quickly told his slimes to group up. He protected them in a barrier and used a spell to send them flying safely away. Yuji then protected the town of Masayas with multiple barriers. But then, the whole town exploded with green flames, breaking his barriers. Yuji looked for more spells as the slimes got worried. He came up with a new plan and made a strong barrier spell. He worked hard to stop the explosion, but his magic power, MP, was running low. Yuji struggled to keep up, using all his strength in MP. Finally, there was a huge blast, but Yuji stopped it. His wolf was hiding underground. At night, Yuji went back to the city of Ricarda. Everyone was relieved to see him safe and thought the explosions were meteorites. Yuji noticed the snow was melting. The next day, the townspeople greeted Yuji and wanted to celebrate with him. They saw him as a hero for helping with the firewood. The restaurant owner came to thank Yuji for getting rid of the wild boar monsters. Thanks to this, the chef made his best stew for Yuji. Yuji loved the taste so much that he felt like a new person after eating it. He was so full from the stew that he fell into a food coma. Later, Yuji woke up and wanted to read the evil organization's books. His slime spit out the documents, but then the words disappeared, leaving only one readable document. It was a hit list with John Wick's name on it. Yuji discovered that he and other people were targets for assassins. In the forest, a female assassin threw her knife at a snake, testing if their targets were dangerous. They found Yuji and his pets, who were leaving Ricardo to avoid danger. Yuji had planned to go to Borgaina, known for its monster armor. He also wanted to visit Geigel's workshop for upgrades for his slimes. While traveling, his slime warned him that 2 people were following him. Yuji pretended to sleep while the assassins debated if he was a threat, deciding to keep watching him. Yuji then used the slime to check the assassin's strengths and thought of a plan to convince them he wasn't dangerous. In Borgaina, Yuji visited an armor shop but was turned away because he had no money. The assassins thought he was a loser. Yuji then acted like he spent all his money on drinks. Yuji accepted a monster hunting quest from the guild, telling his pets not to help so he could seem weak. His wolf, thinking he was weak, was surprised when he easily beat a bull monster. The wolf had forgotten his own strength, and Yuji remembered how he met and tamed the wolf. That night, the wolf attacked Yuji, who defeated him quickly. The wolf begged for mercy, but Yuji didn't want to hurt him. After becoming Yuji's pet, the wolf thought he was weak, but he easily beat other monsters. The assassins started doubting, thinking Yuji might be a strong tamer. Yuji secretly healed the monsters to keep the fight going, making his plan to appear weak successful. Proud Wolf wanted to show how strong he was. Yuji used a magic spell to make the bulls stronger, but then realized they were too tough. He thought about making Proud Wolf stronger but decided to let him win on his own. Proud Wolf fought hard and finally beat the strong bulls with a big attack. The slimes cheered for him, and the assassins thought Yuji was weak. Then, a bull charged at Yuji. He used a spell and beat it with his sword, accidentally showing his strength. The assassins were surprised, unsure if Yuji was really weak. Yuji's slime was listening to their conversation. They decided Yuji wasn't a threat and planned to tell their bosses. Yuji overheard them saying they would go after Priest Style next. At night, the assassins reported Yuji as not dangerous. Their leader was happy about the destruction of town messiahs and planned to go after Priest Style. Yuji wanted to save the priest, so he used a strong spell, and his slime quickly beat the assassins with an ice spell. The next day, Yuji went to see blacksmith Giggle. At first, Giggle's apprentice didn't take Yuji seriously, but Giggle got mad at him. When Giggle found out Yuji was a slime tamer, he was impressed by the slime's high level. Giggle said he needed to make special armor for them, but they were missing some materials because the slimes were too strong. He explained to his apprentice that Yuji and his pets were the strongest team around. Giggle showed Yuji a jewel from a lesser fire dragon but said it wasn't strong enough for his pets. He mentioned a blue lesser fire dragon's jewel would be perfect. These dragons were very strong and rare. Giggle said the jewel could be used to make great armor for Yuji's pets. Yuji decided to go after these dragons. At the guild, he took on quests to hunt lesser fire dragons, learning that these dragons were resistant to spells. Yuji found out he could beat dragons using regular water. The guild receptionist told him he needed a lot of water, but the only nearby river had dangerous fish. Yuji took on the fish hunt quest too. At Volcano Mountain, he got a new slime that was excited to help. Near a river, they didn't find any fish monsters. Yuji realized his slimes couldn't swim, so he made a web with a spell to keep them afloat. They dove in and found a dark hole with a fish monster inside. The slimes got scared and asked Yuji to pull them out. Yuji saved them and froze the fish with an ice spell, but the fish broke free and attacked. Yuji dodged and burned the fish with a fire spell. Then Yuji's blue slimes found some red slimes and tamed them. They saw dragons, but the slimes hadn't sensed them. The slimes were afraid of the dragons, so Yuji fought alone. He used water he collected with a spell to fight the first dragon and quickly found a jewel. His slimes were amazed and gained courage to fight dragons too. They found a blue lesser fire dragon, bigger than normal ones. Yuji told his slimes to get ready, and they attacked the dragon with water, but it didn't work. They got scared, so Yuji used an ice spell to freeze the dragon. It broke free, but Yuji and his slimes built a wall, and he used a stronger ice spell to defeat the dragon. Yuji collected a blue jewel for armor. One of his slimes swallowed the blue dragon, and they all celebrated. That evening, Yuji returned to the guild, having finished all the hunting quests. The guild receptionist was thankful to Yuji for his help with the fish quest and filled out some paperwork for it. Later, Yuji showed blacksmith Giggle the blue lesser fire dragon jewel he had found. Giggle and his apprentice were really impressed and wanted to make armor for Yuji. Yuji then surprised them with another blue jewel and several regular dragon jewels. Giggle was eager to start making the armor. The next day, Yuji's pets got their new armor, which made them stronger. Proud Wolf tried out his armor and found he was much faster and enjoyed his new skills. Yuji's slime also tried the armor and became physically stronger. Yuji cast a spell to make them even faster. Giggle suggested testing their new attack strength, so Yuji gave an ice spell to his slime. Giggle and his apprentice were amazed at the slime's magic abilities. However, Yuji realized the armors couldn't handle the power of his spells. Giggle mentioned a rare fire dragon living in a volcano, which no one had ever beaten. Yuji wanted to hunt this dragon but was careful not to put the town in danger. His slimes noticed something odd about the lesser fire dragons and went to investigate. They saw two men hiking towards the volcano and felt an earthquake caused by a huge fire dragon heading towards the city of Borgonia. Yuji sent some slimes to find the fire dragon. Another slime reported the two men were moving towards the dragon. Yuji listened to their plan through a slime and tried to catch them, but they dodged, thinking they had triggered a monster trap. The men continued and Yuji tried another attack. One of them hit Yuji's slime, which had been spotted. Yuji used another slime to trap the men. The slime was fine and Yuji caught the men. They drank poison rather than reveal anything, dying immediately. Yuji's slimes were confused. Yuji had his slimes check the men's barrels and found magic stones inside. Dryade appeared and was surprised by the barrels too. She explained that the water inside made monsters angry. Yuji purified the water with a spell. Dryade then went back to the forest and the slimes said goodbye. Some slimes noticed strange behavior from the lesser fire dragons. Suddenly, a man knocked on Yuji's door, warning him to get to safety as residents fled due to the volcano. Yuji learned from the innkeeper that the fire dragon usually didn't appear on rainy days. His slimes reported the dragon was heading towards the city. Yuji learned a huge fire dragon had destroyed the city before. He planned to stop it with lots of water. The dragon stopped at a river, but then evaporated all the water. Yuji realized he needed more water to stop the dragon. He got his slimes ready to fight. They attacked the dragon with ice magic, freezing its legs, but the first attack failed. They tried again, but it didn't work. The dragon breathed fire at Yuji, who countered with a stronger ice spell and gave more magic to his slimes. Yuji thought of a new plan when the dragon crossed another river. He had his slimes release water they had collected in a barrier. The huge dragon was overwhelmed by the river and drowned. Yuji's slimes had collected a lot of water with a barrier, which helped them win. Yuji's slimes were proud of him, and they went to check on the fire dragon in the river. However, the dragon suddenly woke up and attacked. Yuji quickly protected his pets and told them to find cover. The dragon tried to destroy Borgonia with fire. Yuji used a powerful spell and gave it to his slimes. Together, they fought the dragon with ice magic. They managed to beat it, freezing the dragon, which then broke into pieces, dropping a big jewel. The slimes were thrilled they beat the huge fire dragon. Yuji was exhausted because he used all his magic power, MP. His slimes found a strange device. That evening, Yuji showed blacksmith Giggle the dragon's jewel and said he beat a lesser fire dragon, keeping his abilities secret. Yuji then went to the Adventurers Guild to learn about the city of Ordurian. He found out that Ordurian is a mysterious place that most adventurers avoid. He showed the guild receptionist the strange machine, learning it could make artificial rain. Yuji thought the men he was after were in Ordurian. The next morning, Yuji got new legendary armor for his slime. He then left for the next town with Giggle wishing him luck. In a secret place in the forest, an old man gained powerful muscles, wanting divine powers. Priest's Tale was in Ordurian, waiting to meet Yuji. Yuji arrived in Ordurian and went to the Adventurers Guild, where other men watched him. He didn't take any quests and left, spying on the men with a slime. He heard he was off the death list, but one man still wanted to kill him. The other man warned that killing Yuji might cause trouble for their group. Yuji discovered their leader's name was Walter and met with Priest's Tale. In Ordurian's church, Priest's Tale was waiting for Yuji. He told Yuji about his past with Walter, revealing he had founded the Blue Moon organization. Initially small, it grew quickly. Walter joined and became Stale's right-hand man. The gods instructed Priest's Tale to disband Blue Moon, but he ignored them. Soon after, most of his followers were killed, and his group was destroyed. Stale found out Walter had orchestrated the attack to take over the organization, renaming a Blue Moon of Salvation with a goal to destroy the world. Yuji was shocked by this story, and Priest's Tale showed him a book as evidence. Yuji learned about the new Blue Moon's plans and that he was chosen by divine forces because he could use the legendary dagger. Priest's Tale asked Yuji to save the world. Johan then questioned why Priest's Tale hadn't told Yuji everything. Meanwhile, Walter's follower reported seeing Yuji and Priest's Tale together. Walter then went to a secret room to pray to a magical device. He believed a legendary sage who could destroy the world would soon appear and needed to sacrifice someone special. Yuji thought about what it meant to be a divine emissary. Yuji remembered a guild receptionist telling him about a sage. The next day, he couldn't find Priest's Tale in the church, so he asked his slimes if they saw anyone. One slime said they saw Priest's Tale that morning. Yuji then went to look for him. Meanwhile, Priest's Tale found a hidden place locked by magic and opened it with a magical necklace, discovering a secret room with Johan. Priest's Tale was then surrounded by guards, but he quickly made a protective barrier and prepared to fight them. Yuji found a secret entrance, but his slimes were nervous. He opened it using a powerful spell. Inside, Priest's Tale and Johan encountered Walter, Tale's old friend. Still realized Walter wanted him dead to summon the sage. Yuji and his pets found defeated enemies in the hideout and saw Priest's Tale fighting. Walter was surprised Stale beat his fighters, but then Johan, betraying Stale, paralyzed him with a spell. Stale was shocked to find Johan was a traitor working with Walter. Walter revealed their plan to use cursed magic crystals to cleanse the world. Just then, a strong warrior appeared, ready to fight off all the summoned monsters. Walter questioned if Yuji was the legendary hero. Johan confirmed Yuji was the divine emissary who had stopped their plans by defeating the ancient beast. Walter realized Yuji was powerful enough to ruin their evil intentions to cleanse the world. Despite setbacks, Walter was excited about his next step to summon the legendary sage, capable of destroying the world. Priest's Tale insisted Yuji would stop him. The defeated fighters then turned into lifeless monster puppets. Walter planned to use Priest's Tale as a sacrifice to awaken the sage. Yuji arrived with questions about the sage for Priest's Tale. Yuji was attacked but blocked it with a barrier and freed Priest's Tale. Priest's Tale told Yuji that the enemy was Walter. Walter was thrilled to meet the divine emissary and thanked Priest's Tale. Yuji then fought off two strong monsters with his slimes. He and Priest's Tale were surrounded by enemies. Walter escaped to a hidden room with a throne that made him stronger. He gained incredible powers from an evil device and transformed into a giant beast. Yuji tried to stop the transformation with fire magic, but Walter evolved into a demon with horns and a laser beam mouth. Yuji protected himself with a barrier and fought Walter with his slimes. Walter tried to escape, but Yuji kept casting spells, hitting him with fireballs. Yuji's slime noticed Walter wasn't hurt, so Yuji told his pets to use their magic gear to power up. Yuji was shielded by his slime, and they successfully turned on their power gear. Yuji then cast spells to make his pets stronger. They quickly surrounded Walter, who couldn't escape. Yuji's slime hit Walter with a huge fireball, creating a hole in his body. Walter then absorbed other monsters to heal himself. Yuji attacked again, but Walter, now angrier, absorbed more monsters and evolved. Yuji's slimes bombarded Walter with fireballs. Yuji dodged Walter's attacks with Proud Wolf's help and kept fighting back. Yuji used a spell to turn Walter into stone, but Walter fought back fiercely. Yuji prepared a final move, trapping Walter in webs and hitting him with a massive fire spell. Slimes celebrated, but Walter laughed and cast a spell as he died. Priest's Tale admitted he didn't know everything and warned Yuji to be careful. The room filled with purple light as the energy from the dead monsters and Johan was absorbed. A new warrior claiming to be a sage appeared. Yuji wondered if this was Walter, but Priest's Tale said it wasn't. He explained Walter was summoning a god. Yuji was surprised by this revelation. The sage attacked with fire, and Yuji blocked it. His slimes were shocked the sage used the same spell as Yuji. Yuji then readied his slimes for battle, enhancing their abilities with buffs. Proud Wolf and the slimes jumped into action against the sage. They tried to attack, but the sage blocked them with a barrier. Yuji told his slimes to spread out for a new attack. They jumped on barriers Yuji made and attacked from all sides, but the sage easily stopped them. Yuji teleported his slimes to safety when the sage attacked them. The slimes couldn't hurt the sage, and Yuji was almost out of magic power, MP. Yuji thought of a new plan. All the slimes attacked together with a strong ice spell Yuji gave them. They froze the sage, but he quickly broke free. They then hit him with a powerful fire spell, knocking him down. Yuji hoped they had won, but the sage was still okay. Yuji and the sage fought fiercely, both using strong spells and causing a lot of damage. Yuji was getting dizzy from low MP. His spells overwhelmed the sage, but he didn't beat him. The sage then used a spell that could destroy the world, shooting purple laser beams and activating machines to make rain. This made the monsters angry and act weird. Priest's Tale was shocked the sage wanted to destroy the world. Monsters attacked towns, and adventurers struggled to stop them. Some of Yuji's slimes were patrolling and helping. Yuji told Priest's Tale about the rain machines. The sage floated in the sky and showed Yuji his memories, revealing that another legendary dragon would come for the next sage to fight. Yuji realized the sage wanted to change the world to stop this cycle. They both used fire spells, causing big explosions. Priest's Tale was amazed by their power. Yuji's slimes reported trouble with the angry monsters, so Yuji used spells to keep them from the towns. He used so many spells his MP went into the negative. Yuji was really tired. Dryad told Yuji that the people of Fasten were gathering to fight the monsters. They were inspired by Yuji and wanted to defend their town. Yuji sent his slimes to help. Other towns did the same, knowing about Yuji and wanting to help defend their cities. Giggle helped the knights by lending them equipment, getting ready to fight the monsters. Yuji, used to working alone, was surprised but glad he had help now. He focused on the enemy and used spells to make all the adventurers stronger so they could beat the monsters. Priest's Tale told Yuji the gods had a message for him. Yuji then drank a special potion that restored his magic power, MP, and joined the battle. The battle with the former sage started. They both used similar attacks. The sage boasted about his infinite MP. Yuji used a powerful spell, seriously injuring the sage. He then repeatedly used lightning attacks, but the sage wasn't defeated. Yuji decided to use his legendary dagger, with his slimes ready to help. He charged his strongest spell into the dagger and attacked while creating a barrier. The slimes gave their all, and Yuji trapped the sage in a black barrier, attacking at the same time and destroying the sage's body. This caused a huge explosion, and Yuji won the fight. Exhausted, he collapsed, relieved to have protected the world. Priest's Tale prayed in the church and wished Yuji well on his journey. In the evening, Yuji's pets wondered why he was leaving Orderian. Yuji explained he didn't want to cause trouble as members of the Blue Moon organization were still around. However, he learned everyone was celebrating their victory with parties in all the cities. His slimes shared how everyone was happy and safe. Meanwhile, members of the evil organization learned about Walder's death but still wanted to destroy the world. They planned to use a secret weapon and sacrifice their lives to summon the Black Dragon of Ruin. Yuji's slimes secretly watched the organization's plans. Yuji learned about the evil organization's plans but didn't want his dinner interrupted. Suddenly, a huge tiger tried to attack him. Yuji and his pets were then surrounded by monsters. The next day, Yuji reached a new city, intending to take on a task. He mentioned defeating all the tigers on his way there. The guild worker was surprised that Yuji had fought off the monsters alone, mistakenly thinking his team had been eaten by the tigers. She tried to console Yuji, saying his friends must be in a better place now. When Megi showed up, realizing Yuji had taken care of the monsters by himself, she remarked on hearing rumors about a famous tamer. Yuji realized he was now known as a hero, and his slimes were pleased to see him getting recognition. And this brings the anime to an end. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss out on another video. Until next time, take care.